Major League Baseball welcomes you to the following presentation of the Colorado Rockies. After more than 30 years of history, today marks the beginning of a new chapter in Rockies baseball coverage, a broadcast designed to reflect the legacy of the team.
What a ball game for opening day.
And the city it represents.
The Colorado Rockies are the National League wild card winners.
Baseball in the Mile High City can take your breath away.
Grand slam line Spillboards. You gotta be kidding me.
And thanks to the power of the Rockies and MLB, you'll be closer to the action than ever before.
I think a walk-off homer is ideal for me.
Nolan Jones has won it.
A new season with new storylines and new reasons to connect with America's pastime.
Colorado's the National League champion.
Where passions run as high as the mountains themselves, deserves broadcast coverage to match. Join the Rockies as they push for a higher peak. Rockies Baseball, presented by Major League Baseball, is officially on the air.
Nothing like it opening day. Buddy Black, Charlie Blackmon, raring to go. The 32nd edition of the Colorado Rockies. And they'll open up against the defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks from Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. And Rockies baseball is presented all year long by Major League Baseball. Welcome in once again, everybody. Thrilled that you're along with us for another season with my longtime partner, Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. We say it every year, but we never get tired of it. There's something symbolic, there's something momentous, something universally special about opening day in baseball.
It still gives me goosebumps. I don't care how long you've been in this game, whether it's your first opening day or you've been involved as many as Bud Black, you still get that ultimate feeling like, let's go out there. I still think it should be a national holiday, but that's just me.
I would agree, and I think everybody looking in would agree with you. Let's get it field level. Here's our Ryan Spillboard. Spilly?
All right, Drew, thank you so much. Nolan Jones, your first opening day. What kind of emotions are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, work all off season for this. Had a rough one last year, got an opportunity to turn it around. Good energy, atmosphere here. It's exciting. I'm ready to go.
How cool was it seeing the flyby? And for a guy like Charlie Blackmon, too, this is his 11th. Can you imagine that?
No, I got to talk to Charlie a lot today because I'm obviously feeling the emotions. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Got the chills, and I'm ready to go.
All right, have a good one. There you go. That's Nolan Jones. When we come back, Charlie Blackmon getting prepared for his 11th opening day. Drew and Huey will have more next.
opening day, the Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks. It's not the first opener for that man. Charlie Blackmon will be in the starting lineup for the 11th time as a Rocky. He's now been in the big leagues parts of 14 years. And if you look on the all-time list, no matter what category, you will see the name near the top of one Charlie Blackmon, now sitting at 1,500 games, over 1,600 hits, closing in on 1,700. The bags, the doubles, the home runs, and he's always been extraordinarily good against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Charlie takes such wonderful care of his body. He looks like he did when he first arrived many moons ago, and he is coming off a sensational spring. He's ready to go. So is his counterpart, the 22-year-old Ezequiel Tovar. The Rockies and Diamondbacks, it all begins in a mere few moments. Presented by PNC Bank. Roof is open in downtown Phoenix. It's a lovely evening in the Valley of the Sun. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies meeting again to begin a season. They did it in 2018 down here, in fact. Last year, the series was dominated by the Diamondbacks. They won 10 out of 13, but in the more recent past, beyond that, the Rockies have had their way with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they look to start anew this year. Charlie Blackmon will lead things off for the Rockies. The Southwest starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines.
Charlie Blackmon, right field.
Chris Bryant, first base.
Nolan Jones, left field.
Brendan Rogers, second base.
Ryan McMahon, third base.
Elias Diaz, catcher.
Ezequiel Tovar, shortstop.
Leudis Montero, designated hitter.
Brenton Doyle, center field.
Kyle Freeland, pitcher.
Bud Black, manager.
So that is your opening day lineup for the Rockies, and they'll face one of the game's elite pitchers in Zach Gallen, a product of the University of North Carolina, grew up in New Jersey. Last year, he made every start. Actually, he ended up making 40 starts last year, 34 regular season, 6 in the postseason.
Yeah, and also threw 243 and 2/3 innings, which was 24 more than anybody else. So for Zach Gallen, they took it easy during spring training on him, brought him along a little slowly. It's a 6-pitch mix. It's a fastball, 4-seamer, knuckle curve, changeup. He will cut his slider, sinker. That's our StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. And I think the thing for me with Zach Gallen is you have to get a pitch up, one of those 4-seam fastballs if you can, because that whip percentage on that curveball is over 40%. So you don't want to fall into the trap of, oh, I'm going to look at this pitch, that pitch. You get a pitch, you got to attack it early.
So Gallen, the opening day starter for the Diamondbacks, and the gloves behind him will begin in the outfield. Alec Thomas is a marvelous athlete and a very good defender. Corbin Carroll, reigning Rookie of the Year, is in right. Lourdes Gurriel is in left. Perdomo, a slick glove at shortstop. Ketel Marte and Christian Walker. They're a formidable right side duo defensively as well as offensively. Eugenio Suarez, the former Red, comes down after 2 years in Seattle, and a terrific young catcher in Gabriel Moreno. And the manager on the other side, also in his 8th year like Buddy Black, is Torey Luvello. And his team really came on in September. They secured the final wild card spot, and as we now know, or probably have known for a while, in the postseason of baseball, it's not about how many games you won in the regular season. If you get hot, you can do damage, and the Diamondbacks certainly did that. So here we go. Charlie Blackmon steps in to face Zach Gallen. And the first pitch of the 24 season, perhaps a tad bit outside, but called a strike. So it's 0-1 on Chuck.
Well, it's nice to have Chuck leading off again. I mean, he's just been that guy, so steady there, leadoff spot.
And a changeup, and it's 0-2 on Charlie. Charlie limited to 96 games last year. You may recall he was hit on the hand, missed a couple of months because of a fracture. He's coming off a gorgeous spring. Especially the last 2 weeks. He was the Rockies' best offensive player the last couple of weeks.
Well, he still wears that guard on his right hand too. That's the finger that he broke in Kansas City last year. He still sports that, and rightfully so. You can see it just on that outside of his bottom hand.
And Charlie, an excuse me swing, but fortunately, it contacted the bat. Half is AB alive. Fighting. There's Buddy. Mentioned it's year number 8 for Buddy. Changeup. And that's one of the reasons he has such a low strikeout percentage, Billy. 8th toughest guy to strike out in the National League last year. He saw one changeup, swung at it, sees one again, identified it.
That's exactly what you're trying to do. That's why you got beat so bad inside.
That is off the plate, and now Charlie has weaved the count in his favor, 3-2.
And that pitch was just slightly out more than that very first pitch of the ball game.
And the fastball's popped up left center field. Gurriel calling for it, makes the catch. So that'll bring up Chris Bryant. And I think everyone who's a Rockies fan is aware of how tough a stretch in his first 2 years Chris has suffered through, with a number of injuries. 42 games his first year, 80 last year, but he is extremely healthy now and really excited to not only stay healthy, obviously, but produce, as Chris Bryant, when healthy, has always produced.
Well, and that just makes the offense so much better. I mean, I know that's an understatement, but when you look at him and his pedigree, it just makes everybody else around him that much better.
Yeah, Moreno stole a strike there. That was south of the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just a little below, but this is 2 that have been either down below the strike zone or wide that have been called strikes.
No swing. 2-1. That's Phil Cuzzi. Dan Bellino is calling balls and strikes tonight. veteran crew. Tony Randazzo is at second. Alex Tosi is at first. Excuse me, at third. They frown upon two umpires being in the same spot.
Yeah.
3-1 now on Bryant.
You know, I mentioned Zach Gallen, the number of innings he threw last year. So they started him a little later in spring training because they knew that that workload was kind of unprecedented for him.
On the ground to Perdomo. 2 gone. Well, the breakout star for the Rockies in an otherwise disappointing season in 2023 was clearly Nolan Jones, who did not start the season in the big leagues.
He just did it all once he came back up. Remember, he had the little taste in April. They called him up in Seattle for 3 games, didn't play, went back down, and then when he came back, he said, I'm not coming out of that lineup.
Well, he busted out here. It was in Arizona. It was over a weekend series.
First pitch strike. Well, he got a taste of big league meal money and big league dining. He didn't get a taste of any action in that first call-up. It was later. And of course, he finished as strong as anybody in baseball. In fact, the final National League Player of the Week award went to Nolan Jones. Two outs, nobody on. Here's the 1-1. And this is up the elevator shaft, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Gallen. When we come back, Kyle Freeland, not his first rodeo. The Denver native will be on the mound in the Valley of the Sun. Back in a couple minutes. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Ketel Marte, the veteran switch hitter, will lead things off. Here's Torey Luvello, Southwest batting order. Corbin Carroll, again the reigning National League Rookie of the Year, will bat second. Lourdes Gurriel, he had a terrific year, his first year with the Diamondbacks last season. Christian Walker, so underrated. Moreno, Suarez, and then Blaze Alexander making his major league debut. Alec Thomas and Geraldo Perdomo. Kyle Freeland ready to go. That pitch at 91, just outside. Kyle had a terrific spring last year, 6-14, a 5+ ERA. And this is back through the originator, a base hit. So speed aboard in Marte, and the crowd roars.
Well, third opening day start for Kyle. Also had the opening day nod in 2019 and then 2022. Sinker, slider, four-seam, knuckle curve. I'm really excited to watch the changeup usage probably increase this year because he started to tinker with that grip late last year, towards the end of August, beginning of September, carried it into this spring. So for Kyle, that's going to be a pitch that he's going to utilize, I think, a lot more this year.
Carroll steps up, and that's poured over the plate at 92. And I'm going to reference, at least initially, the velocity, because throughout the spring, fellas, his velocity was up 4 to 5 miles an hour from last year when he worked at 88.8 miles an hour. This is going to be a tough play. Freeland in time. And it helps to be, for me, one of the 3 or 4 best fielding pitchers in all of baseball, and so athletic.
And then make it look easy. I think that's the other thing for me with Kyle. We've seen that jump throw when he's going down the third base line. This isn't actually a harder play because you have to worry about stopping and then also finding a throwing lane.
Well, it's good that you mentioned the lane because the lane is now bigger. The base running lane for runners now is the dirt. If you go on the grass, bad. Stay on the dirt, good.
I like the simplification. The fastball's up high on Gurriel. 1-0 on Lourdes. But getting back to the velocity thing, you know, I think we can overstate velocity, but in Kyle's case, he's up throughout the spring 4 to 5 miles an hour. This ball is crushed to left. And the Diamondbacks are off to a fast start. Gurriel hit 24 last year, and he makes it 2-0 in the first.
398 feet on the home run, came off the bat at over 106 miles an hour, trying to go down and away, and that ball just crept back, middle, and in. You see where Elias had set up, and then this was a base hit originally, and now the home run.
Oh, 0-1 at the bottom of the zone on Walker.
Last year for Kyle, gave up 29 home runs. 26 of those came to a right-handed batter.
Here's the 0-2 on Walker. And according to Phil Cuzzy, he went around. Walker can't believe it. That's the second out.
Good block, too, behind the plate by Elias Diaz. And for Kyle, he threw that where he wanted to. He wanted to get that ball down. It's a perfect spot when you're ahead in the count. It's to the eyes of the hitter. It's a fastball. And just looking at the replay, I think Christian Walker had his head down in hopes that they didn't call it a strike. But indeed it was.
Outside on Moreno. Moreno's interesting in that the 24-year-old hit 7 home runs last year during the regular season. And then in the postseason, he hit 4.
What a trade. I think that's what I think about with Moreno. She had to give up Dalton Varsho. But to get the backstop that they did, and then to play as many games as he did. 111 games last year for Gabriel.
The thing that stood out about Moreno was his receiving skills. As much as he's a good hitter, I think what people didn't realize was how good of a receiver he is. He was elite with some of the catching metrics.
Bouncer to McMahon. He sets his feet and gets a little help at first from Chris Bryant. In the inning, a base hit by Marte and a long ball off the bat of Gurriel. 2-0 Arizona as we go to the second. Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud to be the official airline of the Colorado Rockies. Book now at southwest.com. Nice for the Rockies, and this happened a few years ago, that they begin the season literally a few minutes from where they concluded spring training. 15 minutes away to Salt River Fields.
They're not unaccustomed to opening up on the road. That's the 23rd time in franchise history that they've opened up on the road.
And the Rockies have done well on opening day. Last year in San Diego, they won the first 2 ball games of the year, ended up splitting that 4-game set with the Padres, and then had the real rough go in April, 7-20. Brendan Rodgers batting cleanup. Like Chris Bryant, looking for good health over an extended period of time. There's never been a question about his talent level, Spilly. He just has had so many different kind of injuries, really going back to his minor league days.
Well, and it has to be frustrating, especially when you consider how he's been hurt. I mean, he had a chance to play Gold Glove defense last year and got hurt right away.
And that is shot down the right field line. See if Rodgers will try for 2. He's heading in that direction. The throw from Carroll is not going to get him. So a leadoff double for Brendan Rodgers. And that's a nice counterpunch in the 2nd inning after the 2-run shot by Gurriel.
Well, just a good piece of hitting, too. Inside-out approach for Brendan. And then knowing out in right field, for all the things that Corbin Carroll can do, a strong arm isn't particularly one of them. So go ahead and go. Ron Gideon was telling him, he was pointing to second the whole time.
We talk about the importance of scouting reports and all the pregame and pre-series meetings you have. Huey, that's one, you know, you guys were both part of many of those, and it paid off right away.
Yeah, and you have to do that too, because Arizona, especially last year, they were really good defensively. They don't give you many extra 90 feet, but you have to take advantage of it when that opportunity presents itself.
And McMahon lifts this ball to deep center field. He put the barrel on this, and it's off the base of the wall. Rodgers will cruise home easily. Back-to-back doubles, and the Rockies have their first run of 2024.
Ryan McMahon, 70 RBIs last year, and he gets his first one this year. Again, something that he worked on in spring training, being short to the baseball. Well, he was here. Stayed back on the off-speed pitch, and rather than trying to pull it where you might roll over and have a ground ball out, he hits it to probably the deepest part of the ballpark.
No one out. Elias Diaz at the plate. Lone All-Star for the Rockies last year, and it proved to be a unforgettable trip to the Midsummer Classic, as Elias was the MVP of the All-Star game.
6 different catcher to do that.
Ball and a strike.
Late Gary Carter won it twice.
Well, I like this inning so far for the Rockies. I mean, you see 2 runs get scored in the bottom of the 1st, but the crowd has been taken out of it. And this is a massive crowd.
Well, they've had trouble drawing down here. We've documented that many times through the years, but as it should be, they're the defending National League champions. It's opening day. They better sell every ticket. It's good to see.
It's good for baseball.
Absolutely. And the curveball, one of the best in the game, gets Diaz. That's out number 1.
Curveball 81 miles an hour straight out of the hand. That's a 12-6 variety. Last year against the curveball when Zach Gallen almost hit just 210.
I'm excited to see what Tovar is going to be able to do in 2024.
heck of a rookie campaign.
He's one of those players, and Huey, you get this. You see last year, rookie year, you know, we don't really have the history of what he can do, and it feels like he's still 22, just scratching the surface.
It is quite remarkable.
And he's ahead 2-0.
Yeah, I still go back to that April. That told me a lot about him when he was struggling offensively. But think about it. He'd only played a small handful of games at AAA, so really he's coming from AA.
And he was hurt in AA the prior year. Two and one on Ezekiel. 15 home runs last year, 37 doubles. Not only did that tie the rookie record, he now shares with Todd Helton for the Rockies. 37 doubles, was 5th in the game last year. 2-2. Rockies have hit a pair of doubles in the inning to produce a run. Rogers and then McMahon. And congrats to Ezekiel Tovar, and congrats to the Rockies organization. This has been a recent trend. The Diamondbacks did it with Corbin Carroll. When you have identified a player that you believe is going to be a foundational piece, try to lock him up, and the Rockies were able to do that with Tovar.
That was a wise sign. Because as Billy was mentioning a moment ago, he's only going to keep getting better.
Spit on that, 3-2.
I like that because you're thinking about this as a hitter, okay? He threw me 2 straight curveballs. I swung at him. Well, as a pitcher, he goes right back to it, thinking that you're going to do it. But for Ezekiel, he said, no, I wised up to that.
This is like the hardest pitch, because 3-2, you almost everybody throws a ball.
You got a piece of it. Allen went to that curveball.
4 straight curveballs.
There's a league-wide stat, I saw this the other day, about swing percentage, and 3-2 counts are almost, it's one of the highest swing percentages of any count. But it doesn't mean the pitcher's throwing you strikes.
And a line shot, that's on the ground, handled by Marte. You look toward McMahon. McMahon will get to third. Tovar's out, and with 2 gone, Montero will come up.
It was a heck of a battle. All those curveballs, and he goes to a fastball, lines it, short hop.
We've seen a couple of 3-2 counts already, and that's hopefully a harbinger of good things to come, because the Rockies must, in capital letters, increase their on-base percentage. Some of their young guys naturally have to lower the strikeout rate, the chase rate. Montero is one of those guys. You know what kind of damage he can do if he does not expand too much. Tovar, same deal. And that is gloved by a leaping Eugenio Suarez. Otherwise, it would have tied up the game and in all likelihood been the 3rd double of the inning. The Rockies get their first run of the season. Rogers, after doubling, brought around by McMahon. Wire Cam is presented by Defy. This is a camera you're going to see quite a bit this year, and you're going to love it. We love it. Whole different perspective. We go to the bottom of the second inning with Ryan Spilborghs, Jeff Hewson, and our entire gang. I'm Drew Goodman. Opening day 2024, 2-1 Diamondbacks. First pitch of the second inning is in there on Suarez, who made that leaping grab a moment ago.
I think this inning, if you go pretty quickly, 1, 2, 3, maybe a 10, 12, 14 pitch inning for Kyle, get that offense going again, because they took some of the momentum away from the D-backs.
Breaking ball and pulled over in the 5.5 hole was Tovar, so that'll get up the middle, and it's a lead single for Suarez. He's got his first hit and his first at bat in a new uniform.
They just found the hole. It's slightly pulled with Suarez, got a lot of power. He said 232 last year, but he did play 162 games with Seattle.
He's always been that kind of guy. He posts up every day. Here's the first major league at bat for Blaze Alexander. He made the club in spring training, and the first things that people say about him is he's a terrific athlete. Play virtually anywhere in the infield. Runs well. Got a little pop. Fouls that pitch back.
I was talking to Torey Lovullo a little bit about Blaze today, and he's talking about the thrill of telling a player when they make their first opening day roster, and they did a good job, the Arizona Diamondbacks did, in filming it. Those are always so amazing the first time you're told you made it.
Just missed the top of the zone. Yeah, I saw that video. That was good stuff. He's originally an 11th round pick out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He's going to go to the University of South Carolina. But despite being an 11th round pick, the Diamondbacks gave him $500,000. And he said, that'll work. And he's now worked his way to the big leagues. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Alexander. And that is strike 3. Second strikeout for Kyle.
We've seen a couple calls go against the Rockies, and they get this call with the fastball inside at 92 miles an hour.
That's just paint.
Yep.
Kyle Freeland really good at paint by numbers.
Down low on Thomas. .230 last year, 9 home runs for Thomas.
Did have to go down and have a little refresher course in AAA last year. That was shortly after they were in Colorado. It really felt like he was flying open, kind of jumpy at in the batter's box.
Well, they tried to get rid of his leg kick, and he went down there and tried it, and he just can't. He cannot get rid of his big leg kick.
Bouncer first, now tag play. Bryant smartly held the baseball, and that was well done. After all, the Rockies have been doing that every day the last 6 weeks, working on rundowns like every other team in baseball. Good second inning for Freeland, 2-1 ball game. attention earlier today. I know it took a while, but we're in a whole new world when it comes to sports and regional television. So if you're wondering how to watch your Rockies this season, I'm glad you found us. Rockies games will be available on various linear services, including Comcast and DirecTV, as well as a direct-to-consumer blackout-free streaming option, Rockies.tv. And you can find a full list, and this is the best way to do it, of channels by visiting Rockies.com/watch. And Rockies.tv is available for $19.99 a month, $99.99 for the full season. And there's always a lot of Rockies fans, no matter what time of year it is in Phoenix. Doyle grounds out. Charlie showed bunt. That gets the attention of Suarez.
I mean, that bunt will be available for Charlie Blackmon all season long on Rockies.tv.
Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Charlie began the ball game on a 3-2 pitch with a high fly ball to left center field. Rockies won only 1 ball game here at Chase Field last season, 2-1.
They won 3 games last year total against Arizona.
They had won the season series, or tied it for the prior 5 years. There's no denying the NL West, as it seemingly is every year, is loaded up. We know what the Dodgers have done. In fact, there was, Spill, you're up on this, I think there was a little more than $3 billion spent on free agents in the offseason, and the Dodgers spent literally, it's not an exaggeration, 40% of that. That's a tough play and a good play by Walker. And Charlie still runs well.
That's
just a little bit behind Zach Gallen, 2 outs.
Yeah, 2 straight Gold Gloves for Christian Walker. Won it last year, won it the year before, and he goes to his right. This is a tricky hop, but then once he slides and comes through and gives it to Zach Gallen, he gives the underhand feed. It's much easier, I felt like, when you're going to try to lead that pitcher, to do it like that underhand. It's harder when you're throwing that sidearm type of throw.
And Huey was textbook as Bryant steps up, in that he got it to him so he could catch the baseball prior to trying to find the bag with his foot.
That's the worst thing that you can do to a pitcher, is like the ball's coming the same time as the foot. How many times does it look like they're tap dancing over there? Because they can't find the bag and which foot. But that was outstanding play.
Slider, which Gallen did not feature much last year and worked on it throughout spring training. And he says it's going to be a bigger part of his arsenal once again.
Well, he only threw it 3% of the time last year.
I always wonder when, you know, pitchers like Zach Gallen, who's already, I mean, it's elite command, it's elite movement. Why are you adding a 4th pitch? It's already hard enough to hit you. Why do you need to make it harder?
You finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting.
Yeah.
Well, he has a reputation of being a deep thinker, a tinkerer.
Ouch.
Oh, man. Hopefully Chris is just fine. I mean, you should hold your breath with Chris anytime something like that happens. And remember when he got the fracture last year, because that gets him on the, you know, the calf area. Wasn't it like 3 straight ball games he got hit?
Yes. And that's not even a place where there's, it's one thing if you get hit in the thigh. Okay, but that's right below the knee.
I mean, it all hurts. But as you guys can attest to, that's not the worst place to get hit.
No.
But it gets swollen and it gets hard to bend your knees. You don't run as well.
Oh, man.
Second at bat now for Nolan Jones. He fouled out to the catcher Moreno in his first AB. 2 outs. Rockies down 2-1 as they bat in the top of the 3rd. High on Jones, ball 1. Nolan has said throughout his professional career he's always gotten off to a slow start. That's what happened to him last year in spring training after the trade from Cleveland. Well, this year he started 0 for 10. Now, there was never a doubt he was going to be not only on the club but in the opening day lineup. So, you know, less pressure. And after that 0 for 10 start, he hit over 300 in spring training, including one home run that didn't count. Remember that one inning game?
Yeah, walk off.
Yeah, that's hit hard. Perdomo stays with it, and that'll end the Rockies' third inning. So it remains 2-1, middle of 3.
Glass and luxurious finishes. The Sweet Level Coors Field is a premier destination for entertaining your VIP clients or just rewarding your employees. So visit Rockies.com/suites or call 303-ROCKIES to book your suite today.
9-1-2 for Arizona against Kyle Freeland. Here's the shortstop, Geraldo Perdomo, who was an all-star last year. And that's at the bottom of the zone. Nicely received by Elias Diaz. It's 0-1.
The growth for Perdomo from 2 years ago to last year. And I think the other thing for him is not having Nick Ahmed around, knowing that he was going to be the guy.
Nick Ahmed started at shortstop today for
the Giants. How weird was that?
Really strange in that Brandon Crawford is not with them in the Cardinal organization now, as this is hit to right for a base hit. Fourth hit for the Diamondbacks, and in all 3 innings they've had the leadoff man aboard. Ketel Marte had a single up the middle in the first inning against Freeland. 843 OPS last year for Marte. I think a lot of this has to do with geography, the fact that Rockies games, Diamondback games start so late on the East Coast. There are a couple of Diamondbacks, just like in the past, there's been a number of Rockies that I think nationally have been underappreciated. This ball to the middle of the diamond. That's a good pick by Tovar, but he's not going to be able to get anybody out. Couldn't get it out of his glove. And there'll be another hit.
He couldn't get it out because it wasn't quite in the webbing. It was more towards the end of the glove. So by the time then it goes and settles there, you just can't get the grip on it. You could see the snow cone effect when he caught that ball. Snow cone right there. So when you put your hand in the glove, it's still trying to settle down. And so you can never get the grip on it. So it went from the top of the glove down to the palm. But you're going into the webbing.
Here's Carroll inside. So to finish that thought, there's two guys for me that I think are underappreciated nationally. Ketel Marte, who's 2 for 2 already, and the guy who bats cleanup, the Gold Glover, the power hitting first baseman, Christian Walker. I think people in baseball naturally realize how talented Marte is, how talented Walker is, but maybe the casual fan back east,
no,
they may be unaware.
Yeah, both guys' 8th year in D-backs uniforms too.
Yeah, they're the 2 longest tenured Diamondbacks. The swing pitch, the 1-1 pitch, goes in favor of Carroll. It's 2-1. Marte set a major league record with a 20-game postseason hitting streak. That eclipsed the previous mark by 3 games. One of the reasons the Diamondbacks marched all the way to the World Series. 2-2. Kyle Freeland, like he got last inning, needs a Kyle Freeland specialty, the GIDP.
Yeah, it's done a lot of that in his career, has Kyle. One of the top since he broke into the league. Just 11 pitches for Kyle in the 2nd inning.
And big pitch right here. Just you're starting to get into some heavy traffic with the middle portion of the lineup seeing him for a 2nd time. And it's not like they haven't seen Kyle Freeland before.
Yeah, this is Kyle's 21st career start against Arizona.
4-8 of 535 against Arizona.
11th ball game here at Chase Field.
3-2.
Check him.
Did not go, and now the bases are loaded. No one out for Lourdes Gurriel, who hit a long 2-run home run in the 1st.
He hit was a slider that didn't get where Kyle wanted it. Like that, challenged him with 93. You touched on it earlier, Drew, the increase in velocity. Last year for Kyle, it was either 88.8 miles an hour with this 4-seamer or 88.7 with the sinker, and that was 93.
I'll let you guys describe it.
Well,
it's not 98,
you know what?
I understand it, but it's still, that's a significant difference.
You know where it makes the biggest difference for me, though, is the off-speed pitches. That's where you really notice it, because those are even harder.
He went after him again, this time at 94. This is going to get out of play.
Well, and I like that Kyle can speed you up by throwing 94 under your hands. And you know, if it's 88 under your hands, you still feel like you can throw your hands and get barrel to it. At 94, you almost have to cheat.
Well, even that pitch right there, Spilly, if it was 88, I think you could still get the barrel to it.
He went on an extensive program in the offseason of long tossing and really strengthening that shoulder area. 0-2. And that is lathered to left for a base hit. It'll score 1. Stopping at 3rd is Marte. Gurriel has driven in all 3 runs. Kyle's 0-2 pitch got too much of the plate.
They tried to go back again with the fastball, even harder at 94. But Gurriel just beat him to the spot, pulled the hands in.
That's really good hitting. I mean, anytime you get to 2 strikes, you're almost in a defensive approach, and that's right in under your hands, and you got barrel to it. That's not easy to do. It's almost like he was looking for it.
Yeah, it must be something about that last name, because his brother can hit too.
Walker, bases loaded, 3-1, still nobody out, and this ball is driven to left center field and deep, and this will score at least 2. Stopping at 3rd is Gurriel on the Walker double. And now Arizona's opened up a 5-1 lead.
Well, on Christian Walker's 33rd birthday. He drives this ball into left center field. Last year he had 15 RBIs against the Rockies. This is the wire cam of watching Tony Perez-Chica wave these guys around, and then understanding that relay throw coming in from Brenton Doyle hit the cutoff man, so he has Gurriel put the brakes on. Cool look from that wire cam.
So Darryl Scott departs after a mound visit with Freeland. Still no one out. Single walk, single double. 5-1 Arizona. The infield will come in halfway with the catcher Moreno at the plate.
I like the halfway too, because you're not automatically conceding the run here, and this has always been a very, very fast infield. So you have those two things, and then Gurriel, maybe not the fleetest of foot, over at third.
On the swing, 0-2. This is one of those spots where you really want to miss bats here. The Rockies last in baseball in strikeout percentage a year ago. They just, especially without Germán Marquez, who should be back after the All-Star break.
Saw him in the clubhouse today.
He looks great. He's been thrown off the mound. I mean, he looks terrific, but the Rockies do not have guys that strike out a high number. And this is going to drop. A 6th run will score on a looping single by Moreno, despite the great effort by Doyle. So Gurriel scores, Walker to third, and that is 6 consecutive hitters here in the third to reach against Kyle.
Got towards the label of the bat. The Gold Glover couldn't get it, but fortunate though when he dives for this, it's really, you know, this is a tough one too, because as soon as you start to dive, you're like, oh man, I got to make sure I knock it down. So he threw the glove just so he could get something of that baseball.
Yeah, that's it. It really is the hardest play for a center fielder, especially when it's loud. You don't hear the ball off the bat.
And that's a bullet to center field. Eugenio Suarez makes it 7-1.
Arizona this inning has just found a way and found some grass, and even if it's been a decent pitch, good pitch, they're finding the barrel. Anthony Molina up in the Rockies bullpen now. He comes in, he'll be making his major league debut.
Billy, your field level, I know you're not in the batter's box, but what are you seeing?
I mean, when it comes to Kyle, he's been around the strike zone, and the Diamondbacks, these guys can hit. And this is a team that made it to the World Series last year. Last game of the season ended up here with the Texas Rangers celebrating.
Blaze Alexander struck out looking in his major league debut, his first at bat. Kyle, throughout his career, has been so good at working himself out of jams. He's been unable to do that here in the third inning. And the Rockies are down by 6. Blackman and Wright. Moreno's going to tag, and he'll get an additional 90 feet. So it'll be first and third, one out with Alec Thomas coming up. Thomas grounded into a 3-6-4 double play his first time up.
Another one of those right now.
Yeah, the first 7 to reach in the inning against Kyle. Made his debut in 2017. That had never happened before in his career. Seven runs, 9 hits for Arizona. And make it 10. That's going to run all the way to the wall. Suarez will get a stop sign at third on the double, and Buddy's hand may be forced right here.
I saw him just go down.
Yeah, he's coming to get him.
Let that ball up.
Six-run third inning as the Diamondbacks have hit around. Eight to 1. This is the Major League debut of Anthony Molina, who is a Rule 5 selection out of Tampa's organization. Signed back in 2018, and he's had a lot of success, Jeff Houston, in the minor leagues for an organization that has produced a great number of talented pitchers in the Rays.
Yeah, and that's why the Rockies had picked him up in that Rule 5 draft back on December 6th. And last year, between AA Montgomery and AAA Durham, 28 ball games, made 27 starts. So a little different role for him, but during spring training, 11 1/3 innings pitched, and a great number for me is he only walked 2 batters in those 8 ball games. Those are the numbers I was referencing a moment ago between AA and AAA in the Rays system. And I every time I see Herman, Anthony's right next to him. Those two guys are like really inseparable.
Well, one of the top trades in the history of the Rockies franchise. Rockies sent Corey Dickerson, and a minor leaguer at the time, to Tampa. As this is a base hit, and that will score 1. Stopping at third is Thomas. Suarez comes on down. This was a As ugly an inning as you hope to see all year long, and it's happening on opening day. 7 runs with just 1 out. And the 11th man will come up for Arizona in the inning after a base hit by Perdomo.
No, that's 8 hits this inning.
That was what made the Diamondbacks so good last year, is that this was a high contact rate team. There's a lot of athleticism, and you can see why.
Marte, switch hitter. He lines it to left. I mean, this is not pretty. 10-1. Perdomo's 2 for 2 in the inning. Marte is 2 for 2 in the inning.
Tell Marte's 3rd hit of the night.
Corbin Carroll inside with the fastball at 95. Carroll, he's 0 for 1 and a walk. Everyone who's come to bat for the Diamondbacks in the inning has scored, save Blaze Alexander, who hit the deep fly ball to right. I'd like to push delete about now and start over. The rules do not allow that.
The Rockies had a start in 2008. I believe was it St. Louis? That was Jeff Francis gave up 5 runs in 3 innings.
And then the rain?
And the rain came down. There's no rain in Arizona.
There was a couple nights ago when they had a game here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They have to check the forecast because they have some issues with when they close this roof. There are some things that'll fall right now, so they need to repair it. They can open it, they can close it when no one's in attendance. So they had a rain out because all of a sudden the roof was open, it started to rain, and they couldn't close it. And Molina misses. Carroll, his 2nd walk of the inning, and the bases are loaded for Lourdes Gurriel, who's hit a 2-run home run and has an RBI single. First pitch strike to Gurriel. First 4 in the lineup for Arizona. Not only really talented Marte, Carroll, Gurriel, Walker, but they played virtually every day for that Diamondback club last year. 150 games for Marte, 155 for Carroll, 145 for Gurriel. The guy on deck, Christian Walker, 157.
Some guys are built to play every day. Some guys just want to play every day too. And then when you have your leaders, your top 4 guys doing that, it just makes everybody else say, ah, man, I got to make sure I'm ready to go too. It's just like Charlie, what he does every day.
Wow. I don't know the last time I've seen an inning like this. That's going to score 2 runs. Marte
ran through a stop sign at 3rd. Tony Perez-Chico was trying to hold him up, but
Gurriel's happy because he's driven in 5 in less than 3 innings.
And you're trying to figure out, I mean, how are you going to get the rest of the outs to get through the rest of this game the way the Diamondbacks are hitting?
10-run third. Diamondbacks last year on their way to the World Series had to scramble just to make the playoffs. They won only 84 games. In fact, the Diamondbacks last year for Torey Lovullo in run differential were minus 15, which is usually indicative of a team that's probably, you know, a couple, 3-4 games beneath 500. As it turned out, said they went 84 and 78. They're the only team in the history of the National League to make a World Series with a negative run differential. The only team to win it, the Twins in '87, minus 20. And our late dear friend George Frazier was part of that '87 Twins team.
Well, and I think too for Arizona, they closed that gap in the second half of the season, because I think it was louder and wider early in the year.
Stopping at third on the base hit by Walker is Carroll.
Well, and you would assume that the Diamondbacks, that when you're facing a guy like Molina who's making his major league debut, that the advantage would be towards a pitcher you haven't seen before. But all the swings that we've seen in the last 3 innings, they've been healthy hacks. They're taking very healthy swings.
I honestly, I mean, we're going to have to scramble to figure this out. They have 10 runs on 11 hits. When was the last time you saw a club have 11 hits in an inning? And there ain't any cheapies. I'd like to tell you there were some. There's not. Everything's been barreled.
Jalen Biggs, the lone left-hander in the Rockies pen, has just grabbed a baseball, started to get loose. Well, 8 of the 9 guys, too, for Arizona have scored a run, some multiple times.
And there's still only 1 out. And that's fair. That one wasn't hit hard. It was hitting the right place. It's going to bring 2 home, and it's going to be a double for Moreno.
He has 3 RBIs on the night.
This has become beyond ridiculous.
Now, this is one of the few in this inning that has not been hit hard, just hit the right spot.
I'll tell you from the other side, I mean, I've been on the offensive side of some crazy innings, and as an offensive player, you don't feel bad 1 second. You just keep trying to add on. I'm telling you, like, the Diamondbacks, they have stuck with their approach, and they are taking each at bat one at a time. Like, nobody's getting silly with anything.
Speed on the inside corner, 2-1. This is the most hits the Rockies have ever allowed in a single inning. They allowed 10 hits on 3 different occasions till the 12 here this inning. This is a long run for Charlie.
And I'm assuming most of those times that the Rockies had 10 hits in an inning was at Coors Field.
It's also
not on the road.
It's the most runs they've ever allowed in an inning on the road. Two on Suarez. inning began, it was a 2-1 ball game. The only guy to make it out in the inning, Blaze Alexander's on deck. This is hit to deep right center, and Doyle will get there. It'll work as a sac fly. Suarez has his second RBI of the inning. It's 15-1.
This half inning is closing in on 28 minutes.
On Alexander. And if you're wondering, Blaze is his given name. And if you're named Blaze,
you gotta be fast.
You have to run well.
Or be a firefighter.
It's a prerequisite. Yeah, I suppose that would be apropos as well. 2 strikes on Blaze Alexander.
Blaze becomes Blaze becomes the 6th player from the IMG Academy to make it to the big leagues.
We add up all the guys that have made it to the NFL out of IMG. You got a nice dinner party.
Jacob Nix. Jacob?
Yes.
Yeah. Logan Allen. Just to name a couple.
3-2. No, actually, that we were off by a pitch. No, we weren't. You were right. Blaze Alexander.
I don't
know if they do that at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, where they go, "Hey, ball 3, you take your base." Give the kid, cut him some slack.
Nervous first day.
Yeah, opening day, first major league game.
To center field, and this will drop. It'll drive in a run, and Blaze Alexander has his first major league hit. And now he's really glad that it was not ball 4. Now through April 1st at T-Mobile.com/MLB. So Jalen Beeks, third pitcher utilized for the Rockies in this disastrous third inning, to face Alec Thomas. If Alec Thomas were to reach, I've never seen this before in a major league game, at least one that I've had the privilege of calling. Perdomo, who's on deck, would come up for the third time in the inning.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that in the commercial break. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I haven't seen it either.
This is the most runs in a single inning on an opening day in the modern history of the game. 14 runs for Arizona. Beeks is going to end the inning mercifully. 14 runs on 13 hits for Arizona in the third.
Diamondbacks are getting them. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 p.m. and get your Rockies taco special. Live Mas at Taco Bell. Well, listen, it's 2024 opening day, and for the Rockies, they're going to do something this season where it's about time. This is the new Rockies Homer helmet. Yes, it is a ski helmet with ski goggles, and if you're looking for some pow-pow, like we all are, hopefully this will help you get to 7.
That would be powder, right, Billy? Is that what you meant?
Well, I mean, it could be for power.
Okay.
But yes, fresh powder is called pow pow.
Okay.
That's news to me. Brendan Rodgers at the plate.
Well, you've never snowboarded. And you probably should never ski again, too. So we're good with that.
After your incident this January.
Happens to the best of us. 2 balls and a strike on Rodgers. Brendan doubled in the second inning, and moments later was brought around by a 400-foot double off the bat of Ryan McMahon. And things looked very good, optimistic at that point in time. Rockies were down 2-1. And then the third inning happened. In the air, deep center field, going back is Thomas, and he'll track it down. 1 out, McMahon will come up.
Third baseman, Ryan McMahon.
The last 14-run single inning was produced by the then Cleveland Indians against the Yankees, April 18, 2009.
watching Zach Gallen. He sat down for 34 minutes, and you can tell he's like grimacing. He's not quite as sharp as he was through the first 3 innings, which seems pretty obvious.
3-0 on Mac. And 2 on McMahon. Mack in his career has produced a .925 OPS against the Diamondbacks. And that just missed. So a 1-out walk to McMahon with Diaz coming up.
Hey fans, it's that time of year again. For you, Colorado Rockies opening weekend at Coors Field is almost here. The Rockies will host the Tampa Bay Rays at Coors Field. That's April 5th through the 7th. That's a week from tomorrow. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So get your tickets at Rockies.com today.
Diaz struck out on a good curveball by Gallen in the 2nd inning. It's the only strikeout for Gallen. Gallen last year better than a 4.5 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. Strikes out more than a hitter per inning.
Yeah, he had 210 innings last year in the 34 start. Only 188 hits. 47 walks. That was just during the regular season.
And 6 more in the postseason. Remember in Game 5, Spill, you remember everything. You have that young whippersnapper brain of yours.
Yeah, elephant brain.
Yeah. Game 5 against the Rangers, he took a no-hitter into the 7th inning.
He was dealing. He was doing this game for a world broadcast. It was fun.
Wasn't fun to hit against him.
Nope.
2-2.
I think the thing that stands out, if you're watching Zach Gallen, and you'll hear Bud Black talk about mechanics lead to strikes, he's so smooth with his delivery. It's repeatable, but it's repeatable with multiple pitches. So you're constantly looking for a release point, and everything's coming out of the same spot, but moving in different directions.
Yes, Bill, you made a good point, and probably a lot of this has to do with the 34-minute inning that was produced by Arizona, but clearly Zach Gallen is not real sharp. And a base hit for Diaz. And he'll stop at 2nd.
He's kind of turned himself into one of the top third of all catchers now in Major League Baseball, Elias Diaz. You know what he did last year? Yeah, we know he went MVP of the All-Star game, etc. But just what he could do both offensively and defensively.
I agree. And the other thing, no catcher literally plays every day. I mean, Yadier Molina in his prime is probably the closest thing to a guy who tried to play every day as Tovar steps up, ground ball to 2nd, first time for Ezekiel. But last year, Elias, because he would come off the bench sometimes and pinch hit, he played in 141 games. I mean, he is as durable as they come among backstops in baseball. Brent Strom's going to go out, by the way, to check on Zach Gallen.
Well, they needed at least his bat. You know, that's why even if he didn't start, we saw him come in the 6th or 7th. It was a long time in between innings or half inning for Zach Gallen to sit down. I think that's why they're just trying to go out there and make sure he's feeling okay.
Well, it's not just the 34 minutes either. It's the fact that he's protecting a 15-run lead. Like your mind's not in the same spot that it was when it was 2-1.
And Tovar takes that one out of the zone, 2-0. Most innings pitched, including postseason last year, he was by far #1. Zach Wheeler.
The guy they just signed.
Yeah.
Jordan Montgomery.
And Jordan Montgomery not quite ready to be inserted into the rotation since he's been working out on his own. And they say he's up to about 75 pitches. So 2-3 weeks away, you would guess, before joining.
I mean, I understand up to 75 pitches, but doing that in this type of environment is much different. They just signed him on Tuesday with an option in the 2025 season.
I think it's a great sign for Arizona. They're doing everything they can to get back to the postseason. This is
get over there.
Shallow right. Walker makes a Willie Mays catch. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Montero.
That's a good catch from Walker, because as you're running back there trying to figure out how far to stick out your arms, you have them closer to your belly.
And Huey, you were a middle infielder, primarily a shortstop. You know, a pop-up there, if it's high enough, the shortstop or the second baseman's going to have the better angle of baseball. That wasn't hit high enough, so Walker had to go and get it. Montero robbed by Suarez of knocking him on his first time up, and he drives this ball to deep center. Thomas, oh man. Montero should be 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles. Instead, he's got nothing to show for it. He's barreled up 2 baseballs tonight. Robbed by Suarez and now Thomas.
Inning as the Rockies trail the Diamondbacks, but hey, it was quite the ceremonial first pitch earlier in this ball game. That's Kurt Warner throwing to RJ, Randy Johnson. A couple Hall of Famers there. I thought they might do it the other way around, have RJ throw to Kurt Warner, but instead, no. Kurt Warner, who was born in Burlington, Iowa, my first stop in pro ball in 1986. George Frazier also played Burlington, Iowa.
You guys stay in the same apartment?
I think so, yes.
How about Randy Johnson's turned into a pretty well-acclaimed photographer?
So, you know that another guy that has done that too, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Where did we just see Griffey Jr.? He was at some big sporting event.
Probably the Super Bowl. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it wasn't a Super Bowl. I have heard of that. 1 ball, 1 strike on Geraldo Perdomo. 2 for 2 in the game. He's driven in a run, scored a pair of runs. Not surprisingly, the 14-run third is the largest single inning in Diamondbacks history. Franchise that began in '98, right here at then Bank One Ballpark. Nice play by Brendan Rodgers. And their first opponent, the Colorado Rockies, who swept the Diamondbacks to begin the '98 season. Ketel Marte is 3 for 3. 3 runs scored and 1 driven in so far in the game. In the air, deep left, Jones slides and makes a very nice catch.
Well, I know he was working really hard this spring with Ron Gideon on getting jumps in the outfield. That's something that he wanted to improve on. We know about the arm strength with his 19 outfield assists last year. And then he goes over to his left and slides and makes the catch.
Corbin Carroll 0 for 1, a pair of walks. And Beeks touches the strike zone. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. Nice job by Jalen Beeks. We'll go to the 5th inning in Arizona on opening day. See bank details. Well, opening day roster for the first time. Peter Lambert, Nick Mears out of the bullpen. We saw Anthony Molina, Victor Vodnik, became a Rocky last year. Brenton Doyle, Nolan Jones, Michael Tolia. And it'll be Brenton Doyle leading things off in the 5th against Zach Gallen. Doyle hit the ball hard, but right at second baseman Marte, his first time up. First National League rookie outfielder all time to win a Gold Glove. And it should have been unanimous.
Yeah, it should have been.
He was that dominant in center field. Or Ryan Spilborghs, Corey Sullivan, 2 guys that patrolled center field for the Rockies. It wasn't, you guys didn't have to watch for a very long time to say he's the best we've ever seen.
It was one day we saw him in Cleveland. He had an infield single. He made a diving catch in right center. I was like, okay, that guy's different.
1-2.
I mean, the thing is, Drew, if you have, when it comes to Coors Field and playing center field, if you have that elite of a defender, even though the offensive numbers aren't there, you save the entire pitching staff.
And you know what? He's such a good athlete. He will improve offensively. He worked hard in the offseason. He's worked very closely with Bam Bam Hensley-Mullins this spring. 3-2. And even that pitch right there, I mean, he was well off the plate, but that's a pitch he chased quite a bit last year, Huey.
Yeah, he's really trying to reach for it. I just think he's in a much more athletic starting position. That helps him.
He does go down here. So 1 out in the 5th, and that'll bring up Blackman.
Right fielder Charlie Blackman.
Well, Charlie against Arizona, 214 career hits. Of course, the Hall of Famer Todd Elton, 246.
11th opening day for Charlie Blackman. He's hit well over 300 in his career against the Diamondbacks. Has hit Zach Gallen to the tune of a 303 average coming in.
Talk about underrated player. I think Adrian Gonzalez seeing this list of most career hits against the D-backs. I think he's one of those guys that flew under the, I don't want to say flew under the radar, but just to get the respect. He could hit.
He could really hit. And it took a while. If you remember, he was the first pick in the draft. And there are high expectations with a guy who's drafted 1-1, and it took a bit, but then he became an elite hitter.
He was also logjam when he was with Texas because he had Mark Teixeira at first base, so it took a trade for him to get the opportunity to play every day.
Three and 2. Off the plate, so Charlie draws a walk.
I want to give a little kudos though to Dan Bellino there. Game 16-1. He called the right pitch. He called it a ball. Sometimes you'll get umpires go, yeah, start to expand it just ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think you just can't do that anymore. And I know in your day it certainly occurred.
Yeah.
But umpires are scrutinized and graded, and not only that, they're scrutinized and graded on social media. You don't want to throw out an 88% accuracy on balls and strikes at any point in time, even game 1. We had the game in spring training, basically the futures game where all the kids played.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, a breakout game, and they utilized the challenge system, which they use in the minor leagues. 1 and 2 on Bryant, and there were 3 challenges. It's done in such an expeditious fashion. It didn't slow the game down at all. I am not for an electronic strike zone, but I thought that worked really well, where you can have the opportunity to correct a call that you feel was not accurate.
And you get 3 challenges, and if you remember correctly, the first one helped the Rockies because Drew Romo said, hey, I think that's a strike. They got out of the inning. The next one with Lawler, Jordan Lawler, he said, no, I'm going to challenge it because he was called out on strikes. They overruled it, then he hit the double.
Well, speaking of Jordan Lawler, unfortunately, the top prospect for the Diamondbacks, and one of the top prospects in all of baseball, consensus top 15 prospect, broke his thumb, had to have surgery. He's going to be out in the neighborhood of a couple of months. Nolan Jones fouled out and grounded into a force out. 2 gone, Blackman at first. That pitch was not a strike.
No.
Assume for Zach Gallen with the score in 5th inning and pitch count, this is his last out that he can get.
This will be his 90th pitch.
And he gets his 3rd strikeout as he gets Jones. Blackman left at first, 16-1 Arizona, middle of 5.
Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies.
Charlie Blackmon jersey, you see him everywhere. Lourdes Gurriel in the 5th inning is going to lead it off. Jalen Beeks had a 1-2-3 4th inning. He got the final out in that miserable 3rd inning, in which 18 Diamondbacks came to the plate.
What was it? The Major League record is 20 in an inning to come to hit, because we've never seen 3.
Well, Perdomo was on deck, and he would have come up for the
3rd time in
an inning.
I once made 3 outs in an inning.
No, you did.
I did too. It was in Las Vegas.
Double play.
Come on, let me hear this one.
Yeah, we had a rally going. It was Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, apparently. But I was hit second, so you get 1 out. So I was hitting second, and first guy gets a leadoff single. I come up. I think I popped out or struck out. Then it's like this crazy rally, and everybody's hitting, and all the guys are like, "Spilly, you're gonna hit this inning?" I was like, "I hope so." So here I come, bases loaded, 1 out. Ground out to short, which is what I was notorious for, 6-3. So it was a 6-4-3 double play. And I made all 3 outs in 1 inning. And I was not allowed to eat or go out in Vegas, which ruins my night.
Well, if you didn't do that, though, the game would still be going on.
Somebody said somebody has to make the outs.
That was that great Mark Reynolds line when he was a Rocky, and the Rockies, you know, had the kind of night against somebody that the Diamondbacks enjoyed in that 3rd inning. And I think Mark that night was 0 for 5. And he said exactly that. Somebody had to make the outs.
There's a great story. I was with the Texas Rangers, and Bobby Jones, not the Bobby Jones you think is a pitcher. He's a first baseman, longtime coach. Actually,
left-hander.
Yeah, he has a statue in front of Oklahoma City, and he was beloved. Ian Kinsler was grinding. He was down in the minor leagues, and it's in AAA, and it's kind of late in the game, and Bobby Jones told Ian Kinsler before the start, hey, you have the day off, but I might pinch hit for you later. So late in the game, he pinch hits for Kinsler. My stories are good for strikeouts for Jalen Beeks.
Keep him going then. He's retired all 6 he's faced.
All right, so Kinsler, Bobby Jones says, hey, you're up. So game's on the line, 9th inning. Yeah, there's a chance for to tie the game, and Ian Kinsler strikes out. And Bobby Jones, you know, his ass was like, why did you hit Ian Kinsler right there? And he said, because I wanted the game to be over.
That's how cruel the game can be, because Ian Kinsler was one heck of a player.
It's good to see Bobby Jones and eventually make it to the big leagues as a coach.
One ball, one strike on Moreno. He drove in 3 in that 3rd inning. There are so many guys, I'm sure some of you both recall, that you either played with, played against, or heard about that were legendary minor league players that either maybe got a cup of coffee or perhaps never got to the big leagues but put up prodigious minor league numbers. Throw by McMahon, another 1-2-3 inning for Jalen Beeks.
This 2024 season is full of special theme dates for everyone. You have Star Wars nights, Harry Potter night, Brewfest, Faith Day, Dinger Day, and the University Nights are back. So be sure to check out our newest theme date, Batman Night. Visit Rockies.com/themes for more information. Okay, of course, Randy Johnson had to come through at the end. I mean, he caught the ceremonial first pitch. You can't let him lose then, right? I know he's a little winded here, but then he recovers.
As if you'd seen it before. 34-year-old Scott McGuff out of the University of Oregon. Pennsylvania native. Brendan Rodgers. Brendan a double. A run scored. And he's going to ground out to Ketel Marte here. So Zach Gallen went 17-9 and finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting last year. Done after 5 innings. He allows a run on 3 hits. Struck out 3 and walked 2. McMahon drove in the only run for the Rockies with a booming double to center field in the second. This one was a 2-1 ball game. 2-1 going to the bottom of the third. And then the Diamondbacks produced 14 runs on 13 hits. Hadn't seen one of those before. Don't want to see it again.
Nope.
Unless it's the Rockies running around the bases. You know, Gallen last year went 12-3 at home. He was 5-0 with a 171 against NL West opponents at home.
Well, he went 10 out of his 18 starts here at Chase Field. He allowed 1 run or less.
Yeah, and you think about the NL West, and Spilly, this is, I think, always been true, but especially when you were playing in the big leagues. It was such a contrast in the NL West. Coors Field, hitter haven. Chase Field, hitter haven. And then the other 3 parks, you know, it's where batting averages go to die.
Well, they installed the humidor, what was it, 2017 or 18? And it made a huge difference. I mean, the humidor here made a huge difference to the ballpark. And you can also tell how the Diamondbacks, they noticed how the ball wasn't carrying to center field, how they've put a guy like Alek Thomas in center. And they're playing to the strengths, they're playing to the park. I mean, this ballpark plays now like how I remember the Braves in the 90s, right? Through everything, like pitchers are set up middle away, and you see how far somebody can hit it to center. And Alek Thomas is the Andrew Jones for the Diamondbacks.
McMahon draws a walk, so Mac's been on all 3 times. A pair of walks in that double we spoke of. That'll bring up Elias Diaz, a strikeout and a single for Diaz. In the air to right. Carroll. And that's the second out of the inning. You want to get a hit every time up. You know, in the game of baseball, that is impossible. And on opening day, you really want to get that first one out. You want to have a batting average by day 2.
Yeah, and when you look at it, don't get a hit the first. It's still just an 0 for. It's just 1 game, but it feels so much more because of all the hype, everything that's happening. But I think the first 100 at bats during the season, you know, to start the season, can really, you know, I don't want to say make a difference, but help relax you.
No question. You want the first 100. You want 27 to 33 hits in the first 100 at bats, right? Like just so you're not playing catch up for the next 100.
I think one of the things that you did, Spilly, is so instructive to younger players that no matter how hot you were or perhaps the opposite, you took everything in 10 at-bat increments.
Yeah, I went 10 count. Just like I do with my Chick-fil-A nuggies. I wanted to do it in counts of 10 because then it wouldn't get overwhelming. So if I go for a 10, then it's 0 for 10. I start a new 10. So I would just count at bats in groups of 10. That way, mentally, if I wasn't getting too high, I wasn't getting too low.
It didn't feel like you were overwhelming yourself.
No, and in reality, too, I mean, you can go 0 for 7. Get a hit, now you're 1 for 8, get another hit, you're 2 for 9, get another hit, you're 3 for 10. You're like, wow, okay, so I hit 300.
Did either one of you ever do barrels and say, you know what, okay, I know I'm 2 for my last 10, but I have 6 barrels in my last 10.
I didn't particularly call them barrels, but
back when you were playing in the 1800s, no, they didn't.
Thanks. No, I thought of it more as the quality of bat. Yes.
Swung on and missed. Tovar goes down to end the inning. So McMahon left the board after walking. Major League Baseball opening week is presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Ryan Spilborghs. Tough opener for the Rockies. They gave up a 14 spot in the third. And now it's Victor Vodnik's turn. Hard-throwing right-hander who the Rockies picked up last summer as a minor leaguer.
As part of that trade with Atlanta. That's where you need your professional scouts to be able to weigh in. They write up reports on all these guys. We got a little pitch comp issue.
While they work on that, we'll tell you that the Rockies have subbed out a couple of their veteran guys. Charlie Blackmon, Chris Bryant come out. Jake Cave, that's the newest Rocky. Rockies picked him up for cash from Philadelphia late in spring training. And a guy who had a really solid spring training. In fact, led the club with 5 home runs. Michael Toglia, former first-round pick out of UCLA, is in at first. Vodnik, a California native.
He was drafted out of high school. California, originally a 14th round pick in 2018 by the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, got 6 ball games last year with the Rockies. Eugenio Suarez making his Diamondback debut. It's 2 for 2 and a sac fly. Towering fly ball to center field, Brenton Doyle. That'll bring up the DH, Blaze Alexander, who in his last at bat, his second of the 3rd inning, on a 3-2 pitch, lobbed a single to center field for his first major league hit, and he also got his first major league RBI in the process.
Remember after he thought he had walked.
Yeah, he on a 2-2 pitch missed, and he started jogging down to first before Dan Bellino said, hey, here in the big leagues, we're going to play 4 balls to walk. And on the next pitch is when he produced that single.
You can understand making your major league debut, opening day, all of the above, in front of
Friends and family.
Yeah, 45,000 other friends and family.
One of the reasons the Rockies wanted Victor Vodnik is what you just saw there. I mean, he'll sit 97, 98.
Oh, and it's at the top of the strike zone, too.
It's hard to catch up to.
You just can't. You have to be so short to the baseball to get the high heater. And we're seeing around baseball, I mean, like scoreboards have different metrics, vertical break induced, which for some people are like, what? What are you talking about? Well, that's how it fights gravity. See you later. Oof.
Well, they wanted to check with Phil Cuzzy down.
That's strike 3.
Yeah, down the first base line. I thought he just missed the pitch.
Deep short, and Alexander runs too well. Despite the really fine play by Tovar.
And it will go down as a base hit. Mention how quick and fast this infield is. And for Ezekiel, he gets over there, but the ball hits off the heel of his glove, but cat-like reflexes to be able to get it and then still show the strong arm. It will be a second base hit of the night for Alexander. 17th hit of the evening for Arizona.
Want to know on Alec Thomas? Thomas an RBI double in that third. He also tapped one up the first base line and was thrown out by Jalen Beeks, which prevented Perdomo from getting his third at bat of the inning. Three and out. Former Rocky Miguel Castro is up for Arizona. Three and two on Thomas.
I'm surprised that Michael Toglia is still holding the runner on and not just playing behind.
Especially with the left-handed bat,
yeah.
Right? Base hit to right.
Well, fans opening day is almost here. That's on Friday, April 5th, and we'll be welcoming back fans to 20th and Blake with a 2024 magnet schedule. That's courtesy of Aero Electronics. Be sure to get to the ballpark early to enjoy all the pregame festivities.
Perdomo 2 for 3. One out, runners at first and second, and this ball is hit to deep right field. Cave leaps and makes a really good catch.
The old line, and when you go into a ball game, the ball's going to find you. And for Cave, he had to go back, navigate the warning track, navigate the wall back there. When's the right time to jump? All of the above, and he timed it perfectly.
Really good play by Jake Cave. Ketel Marte is 3 for 4. The only time the Rockies got him out, he hit a ball to deep left center field that Nolan Jones made a really nice play on.
Yeah, that was out on the warning track where he then ended up having to slide.
And that's a great play by McMahon. And Marte robbed there of a hit. Won't be the last guy that gets robbed by Ryan McMahon. 16-1 Arizona.
Let's go. And I'm wrong. After the chip, I told my folks back home, so long. I moved my family and my bricks to a place where it's warm. I'm back in championship condition. I can't resist all this winning. It's like me and success built a bomb.
14 runs. That's not a typo in the third inning for Arizona. So they're up 16-1. Eleris Montero is going to lead things off for the Rockies against a guy who briefly was a Rocky. Came in the Troy Tulowitzki deal way back, right? Miguel Castro, 6'8". Miguel Castro, 29-year-old, 7 saves last year. He's a member of that Diamondback bullpen.
And a 1.18 whip. Remember, Miguel, you talked about coming over in that Tulo trade. That was back in 2015, and then 2016 it appeared 19 ball games with Colorado.
That's in there. Montero's owed a bloop single here.
Something.
I mean, Eugenio Suarez back in the second inning. The Rockies had scored a run. It's 2-1 Arizona. Montero with 2 outs hits an absolute missile that's heading toward the left field corner. Is going to tie up the ball game because McMahon was on second, and Eugenio Suarez at the top of his leap snared the baseball, and then his next time up, Alec Thomas made a leaping catch with his back to home plate in deep center field. One out. Brenton Doyle coming up. A reminder, if you're wondering how to watch your Rockies this season, Rockies games will be available on various linear services. The easiest way to find a full list of channels is by visiting Rockies.com/watch. Now, Rockies.tv is available for $20 a month, $100 for the whole season. And the best part about this is the issue of blackouts has become a thing of the past. So there's no blackouts wherever you are.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. You'll be able to watch the Rockies. And again, Channel Finder also on Rockies.com is a great resource. Just enter your zip code and provider for information. But with the streaming service, no blackouts is huge.
Which we haven't had before.
No. Brenton Doyle taps it in the neighborhood of low throw, and Walker helps out Castro.
Yeah, it's just a little chopper. Miguel Castro throws it in the dirt, but Christian Walker saves him.
So Jake Cave will have his first at bat. Charlie was 0 for 2 and a walk.
Yeah, I used that channel finder this morning for my in-laws up in Wyoming to help them find it on Spectrum. So a lot of good information there.
What I need is a remote finder.
I can't help you there, Billy.
Did you lose which remote did you lose? What room?
Every time we're home, I'm always looking for cushions or going flying. Like, did it fall between the couch cushions? Did the dog eat it?
What you were talking about in your hotel room?
Oh no. I don't watch TV in the hotel. I'm out.
You don't watch TV in the hotel room?
Nope.
Not before bed. This is bounced to third. Suarez by a step gets Cave, and Castro works a 1-2-3-7. Diamondbacks lead 16-1. Wire Cam is presented by Defy. You're going to see this all season long. Also going to see Rail Cam.
Nice additions.
Yeah, they're two great additions. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Corbin Carroll 0 for 2 and a pair of walks, couple of runs scored. Jacob Stallings is now in behind the plate for Elias Diaz, making his Rockies debut. Longtime big league catcher.
Oh, they were teammates in Pittsburgh.
They were back together again. Won a Gold Glove a couple of years ago. Did Jacob?
Yeah, the big number I remember talking to Derek Shelton about Jacob Stallings' Gold Glove candidacy was, kept saying, listen, Spilly, you gotta talk about it. No pass balls the entire season. Not one baseball got past Jacob Stallings. Think about that.
Well, that's amazing in itself. And then you factor in that Jacob Stallings, one of the bigger catchers you'll ever see. You know, 6'5" in that neighborhood.
Remember Lance Parrish?
Yeah, he was 6'4". That's foul. Michael Barrett.
Yeah.
Ben Davis was a huge
Ben Davis, former Padre.
Joe Mauer's a big one too.
Boch.
Well, the thing with Joe Mauer, going back to Joe Mauer, I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer, was awesome. The nicest catcher ever. You like wanted to be mean to him. But he had the Minnesota accent. He was from St. Paul, grew up in the area.
He was a great, not good, he was a great high school quarterback. Good hooper. Good looking guy, just hated him. Everybody hated him. Deep center field, Doyle on the move, and he'll tuck it away. So Corbin Carroll along out, one gone. That'll bring up Lourdes Gurriel. Three for 4, 5 ribbies for Gurriel. That's out of play.
He signed a new 3-year deal this past winter.
Boy, he had such a productive year. Remember, he was hurt with Toronto, signed by Arizona. He has a terrific year. And then in the offseason, as you mentioned, he signed a 3-year deal to stay with Arizona. I can understand why Mike Hazen and of course Torey Lovella wanted to keep him in the middle of their lineup.
Mentioned his brother, Yuli Gurriel. He could just flat out hit too.
Yeah, I mean the trade going back again when we talked about Gabby Moreno. Gurriel was part of that. I mean, like
you kind of forget about that.
An all-timer. I mean, that's an all-time win. Lopsided. Now it's still early with Dalton Varsho with Toronto, but you get an everyday catcher and an everyday left fielder for one player.
And Gurriel swinging as he got out of the way. So Vodnik with a strikeout.
That's that high fastball. Tough to lay off of. You have to commit and cheat so early, and it's running up and in towards your neck area. You're like, oh man, just get out of here.
Breaking ball, first strike.
Still think Christian Walker looks like a bouncer.
You could put together a pretty good, a nightclub, and you get like half a dozen bouncers. How about Luke Voigt?
Luke Voigt.
You put Luke Voigt in the door, right?
Tyler O'Neill, Stone Garrett with the Washington Nationals. An all bouncer team. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Put Giancarlo Stanton at the door, and it's, he'd be bad for business. I mean, people say, you know what, he's just too big. I'll
go somewhere else.
Yeah. I stole that line from one of my high school football teammates, who's a guy we played against. He ended up playing briefly in the NFL. He was 6'8". like 330 pounds, and he used to work the door in a local establishment.
Yeah.
And my buddy said, he's bad for business. Nobody's going to even go in there.
John Roush, the old closer for the Washington Nationals years and years and years ago. He was a 6'8" monster.
He was 6'10". He was 6'10", and he had the neck tats going, Spilly, before guys had neck tats. Ooh, off the end of the bat.
Yeah, I kind of picture Christian Walker when he walks up. He's not the one that's going to say, "Excuse me, sir, I'm politely asking you to leave." I think he's just the one that just grabs you by the arm and just walks you out. He doesn't even say a word.
Escorts you to the door. Spins out of the zone. 2-2. How about the left fielder for the Phillies?
Part of that group.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that Brandon Marsh? Is that who you're thinking?
No.
Castellanos? No, I think he's in right. Who's in left?
This guy who bats leadoff for the Philadelphia Phillies. Former Indiana Hoosier, former Chicago Cub.
He's more of a DH. Cal Schwarber.
Schwarber plays left field. And you want to know what? He plays bouncer. See, back in the day when you got your baseball cards, your freshly minted Topps cards, and guys had off-season occupations, we always say Richie Hebner is a grave digger. We got our old bouncing team. Kyle Schwarber bounces at Mickey's down on 3rd Avenue. 3-2 on Christian Walker. Two outs, nobody on in the home half of the 7th. Ball 4. Gabriel Moreno is at the plate. 2 for 4. Single and a double. 3 driven in the 3rd inning.
There's a pretty nice crop of young catchers around Major League Baseball right now. Adley Rutschman, we know that. Patrick Bailey, you'll see with the Giants, was a really good receiver. Moreno. Yainer Diaz now catching every day for the Houston Astros.
Which he should have been doing last year.
Still, guy's still pretty young for the LA Dodgers.
Nice payday.
Signed a 10-year deal.
Will Smith, Logan O'Hoppe with the Angels, another young catcher. There's a bunch.
That's a good pitch, and the young catcher has to make a left turn and go back to the dugout. So Vodnik, a couple of strikeouts in that 7th. 6 to get your Rockies taco special with Moss at Taco Bell. We are thrilled to have Taco Bell back for yet another season. Michael Toglia is going to lead it off. First at bat for Michael. He came in last inning for Chris Bryant. Buddy Black with the lopsided score took Bryant, Blackman, and Elias Diaz out. And now Arizona's going to make some changes. Jake McCarthy, marvelous athlete in left field. Jace Peterson is veteran guy. He's in at second for Marte. So Gurriel comes out, and Ketel Marte comes out. Kyle Nelson's in the ball game for the Diamondbacks, and for his introduction, we're going to defer to Ryan Spilborg. Spilly.
All you need to know is he is a UC Santa Barbara Gouger.
Toglia hits it sharply, but it's at Suarez.
Tell you what, Toglia has improved his right-handed swing. It's a little bit more efficient. Last year, I think I made a couple of observations about the swing looking like the left-handed side was going to be much stronger for him, but he improved in spring training. He hit really well right-handed as well. Kind of forced the Rockies to make a decision. They sent Sean Bouchard, they optioned him down to the minor leagues.
That spins over for a strike on Nolan Jones. Nolan 0 for 3. Rocky's been limited to 3 hits. 2 of them came back-to-back in the second when the Rockies trailed 2-0. Gurriel had hit a 2-run home run in the first against Kyle Freeland. And Rogers and McMahon back-to-back doubles. And it looked like the start of it was going to be a really tight, entertaining game.
Well, then the second inning, Kyle Freeland, 11 pitches, got out of that inning. And you think, okay, get this offense rolling again. And then it was just a lone Elias Diaz hit in the 4th.
The line for Kyle. Not good. 2 1/3, 10 runs, 10 hits.
And we talk about it offensively. Hey, your first 100 at bats, and you know you don't want to playing catch up. Well, the opposite's true for a pitcher. If he goes out there now, Kyle's got 10 earned runs in this ball game. Now trying to whittle that thing down.
Jones goes down. 2 outs. Well, as tough-minded and as competitive as Kyle is, he'll push the lead on it and move on. That's all you can do.
Yeah, we get that start at home. You know, I want to do great things at Coors Field.
Suarez on the backhand throws out Rogers. A 1-2-3 inning for the Gaucho Kyle Nelson. 16-1 Arizona, middle of 8th.
The 8th inning. It's been a night to forget for the Rockies on opening day. But you can suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of official jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your Rockies at MLBshop.com. New pitcher for the Colorado Rockies will be Nick Mears, making his 2024 debut. Last season for the Rockies, 3.72 ERA.
High walk rate, but good stuff. Yeah, good arm.
If you talk to scouts and even people within the organization, they'd say he might have the best stuff coming out of the bullpen.
I told you, I felt watching Nick Mears mechanically reminded me so much of John Axford.
Yeah, right over the top, huh, Spilly?
It's coming out hot.
Sitting on 97, 1-1 on Suarez. Remember a couple years ago with Cincinnati, he hit 49 homers.
I believe it's the most homers ever for a Venezuelan-born player.
That's strike 3.
Yep.
At
Gotta
97.
go.
So Mears strikes out Suarez for the first out, the bottom of the 8th inning. Blaze Alexander in his major league debut is 2 for 4.
Well, going back to John Axford for a second, last year, I'm not sure if you read about this story, but he played for Team Canada in the WBC. This place was electric. This ballpark held the WBC round, and for John Axford, he was making a comeback with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he blew out in the bullpen when he was coming back out. And so he said, I'm not going to go out that way. And he spent an entire year, got Tommy John surgery, just to pitch for Team Canada. And so here he is in a game with Team Canada. Comes out, and he hadn't even pitched against live pitching yet because he's still a couple months away from Tommy John. Pitched and gotten out. He did not throw a curveball, and he got to tip his cap to his wife and kids, and it ended.
Boy, that's a great curveball right over the top. Blaze Alexander didn't come within about a foot of hitting that.
That's a hard curveball. It's not with a loop in it. It has that, when you're in the box and you see a hard curveball like that, then those are the ones you hear coming at you.
Two outs, nobody aboard. Alec Thomas 2 for 4. And there's a first pitch curveball for strike 1.
Speaking of Team Canada, I saw a picture today of Joey Votto sitting in the stands at a Toronto Blue Jays game for opening day. I was like, oh, that something was just off about seeing that.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know in his career he produced well over 400 on base percentage. Spilly, a Hall of Famer for you, Huey?
Yeah, I mean, his numbers are right in line with Heldon when you consider on base percentage and OPS. Yes, Hall of Famer.
Nick Mears, quite an inning. He strikes out the side. We'll go to the ninth. Line score 16-1, 14 runs, a team record for Arizona in that third inning. Here are the starters for tomorrow, game 2 of the season. Cal Quantrill will make his Rockies debut, the former Cleveland Guardian. Last year, 19 starts, came on late in September. He'd been battling some injuries, and Merrill Kelly, part of that very good 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation with Zach Allen for Arizona. That's matchup tomorrow, on a half hour earlier tomorrow, by the way, as well. Luis Frias is the man who's been asked to handle the 9th inning here with Arizona way out in front. Ryan McMahon tonight has been on base all 3 times. A double to drive in a run in the 2nd, a pair of walks.
Frias' first opening day roster. That's off his foot. Foul ball.
Change at shortstop for Arizona. They've removed the DH. Blaze Alexander is in for Perdomo at short.
He's primarily an infielder who plays short, 2nd, 3rd.
Two and two on McMahon, and that's a really good piece of hitting. I'm telling you, that had a sharp break to it, and Max stayed with it, went down, and lined a 1-hopper through the right side. McMahon on for his 4th time tonight.
Well, that's the key, being able to manipulate your bat in the way you try to attack that ball. He really had to lean over at the waist to get that barrel down and out there.
Jacob Stallings, first at bat in a Rockies uniform. Again, he came in a couple innings ago for Elias Diaz. Elias was 1 for 3. That hit by McMahon, just the Rockies' 4th. And that'll be a 5-4-3 double play. 2 gone in the 9th. Ezekiel tonight, ground ball to 2nd, will pop behind first base, and a strikeout swinging. And Frias dials up 97, 0-1.
That's what he could do. He's 95 to 98 with a 4-seam fastball. There's Frias.
And it's on the ground to Blaze Alexander. And he gets a little help from Walker at first. That'll end the ball game. 16-1 the final. 14 of the 16 came in the 3rd inning. The good news, it's only 1 game. So the Rockies fall to Arizona on opening day 2024 by a final count of 16-1. We'll come back with the post-game show right after this from Chase Field in downtown Phoenix, Arizona.